The show keeps getting better because Nigel Farage is here, our mate, of course, from the UK, the Brexit leader and the king of free speech on GB News, which you can find on flashnews.com.au. Nigel, welcome, of course, back to Paul Murray Live. Lovely to see you. Your campaign against Boris's green agenda, it gains momentum by the day.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, since we launched this about 5 weeks ago, things that were previously unspeakable are beginning to become mainstream. We've got a British government now sort of blocking up the drills that have been put for us to extract gas. They were actually going to fill them with concrete, so mad had they become. That's been reversed. And there is now an open debate going on. Now, you know, just because senior politicians in power start to move towards your position, it's a beginning. Obviously, we've got to keep that going. But the logic of the argument is very clear that we should stop importing vast amounts of energy that we can produce here and stop exporting manufacturing jobs to India and China when the goods have to be shipped back here. None of it even saves CO2. It's lunacy, and I think that's getting through. And I noticed that the Guardian, the good, solid, left-wing, metropolitan elite Guardian are now describing it as a far-right campaign. Now, as soon as anything, if anything's called a far-right campaign, it means you must be hurting. It means you must be winning.
I want to work out how it's both racist and transphobic, because that's normally their 1, 2, 3 punch, isn't it, Nigel?
Well, I'm sure it ticks all of those boxes. It's funny, really, because these sort of leftist types, I mean, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I was the biggest joke on the planet. You know, all the cartoons about me, I was just some sort of drunken idiot. But as time has gone by, they've begun to rather fear me, I think. And they know that the logic behind vote power, not poverty, at a time of rocketing prices, by the way, not just for fuel, it's happening with food too, and they know these arguments have got real potency, real power. So I think the truth of it is they're just scared of me, really.
Yeah, bloody oath. We love you. We love being able to talk to you, and people love that you're here each and every week, mate. Now, Elon Musk is using his money to try to even things up at Twitter. Some expectation that he could even go all the way to try to buy the whole damn show. It's pretty obvious here that Twitter has had its finger on the scale for too long. The New York Post story about Hunter Biden is the most obvious example, Wuhan and all the rest of it. But a freer Twitter is going to be a stronger Twitter, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's how Twitter started and why it gained such incredible traction and momentum. I mean, look, you mentioned those examples. What about the fact Donald Trump is banned and the Taliban are still on? I mean, work that out. So there's been, you know, not just the banning of conservative voices, but the shadow banning of conservative voices through their algorithms. Musk is a most extraordinary bloke. I mean, he's a loose cannon, he's an entrepreneur. I mean, he's a remarkable individual. But the one thing about Musk that you have to say, he's an absolute believer in the rights of free speech, and he doesn't like where Twitter's going, so he's bought 10% of the company. Now, I don't think he's going to go onto the board, because I think going onto the board would actually impose too many restrictions upon him in terms of what he could say, its effect on the share price. But actually, having thought this through overnight, I think Musk, being a large shareholder, able to increase his shareholding and speak freely about Twitter without the responsibilities of being on the board, actually could be a better outcome.
Absolutely. I would love to see it, because I think, if nothing else, you know, the fear factor of his presence, that he goes, look, you got two choices here. You can pull your head in, or I'm going to buy the whole damn thing. I think there's going to be some degree of self-correct, but I agree about letting the great man back in terms of Donald Trump. Now, also Harry and Meghan and the Invictus Games.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. So let's get this right, shall we? They weren't able to come to the Abbey in Westminster for the commemorative service for the life of Harry's grandfather, the World War II veteran mentioned in dispatches who gave 70 years of his life to public service, not just for us, but for the other Commonwealth countries around the world. No, they couldn't be bothered to show respect for Harry's grandmother, who's on the eve of her 96th birthday, because they've used her already. She's of no use to them anymore. No, they're going to the Invictus Games in the Netherlands because, of course, they've got books to write, they've got films to make, and they want to be the great, virtuous, wonderful couple helping disabled people play sport. Isn't that marvellous?
Oh, aren't they just so incredible? I mean, they're so compassionate, just unless, of course, it's any members of their family. Anyway, Nigel, so awesome to talk to you, mate. They're terrible. Thank you, mate. We'll see your show. You can see it each and every day, highlights and all the rest of it. Flashnews.com.au on GB News.